Tennessee football's 2026 signing class tells us a lot about the Vols' future. And I'd say the biggest takeaway is Tennessee is targeting the exact spot Vol fans had been pointing to as the team's weakness all season long. So let's talk about that 26 signing class. I'm Paige Dauer. This is the Sports Page.
Just really proud of what we did. The ability to add great length, athleticism on the defensive side of the ball.
There's no question that this is the best, or one of the best, signing classes for Josh Heupel. He has a 5-star quarterback and Faison Brandon, 5-star wide receiver Tristan Keys, 5-star offensive lineman, and Gabriel Osenda. All of that helps to build towards a top 10 signing class. It's the top 5 in the SEC. Josh Heupel is continuing to outdo himself year in and year out. But what we know about this 26 class, they're not worried about their offense. Right? They finished 6th best in total offense a season ago, despite all of the roster turnover that we talked about earlier this week. And they went and got all 3 of their 5-star players are on offense. So they are certainly reloading on the offensive side of the ball. They have a lot of skilled players returning for 2026 and not losing a whole lot by way of the portal or just being out of eligibility. There is, however, on defense. We highlighted this fully on Wednesday, but they finished 86th in total defense. They were really pretty poor pass defense, rush defense, third down defense. None of that really got any better throughout the season. So it was a question of development, of poor tackling. Is it structural? Is it scheme? Tennessee, what they needed to do here in the signing day was find specific fits on defense, and that's exactly what they did. Of their 28 signees, 19 of them were defensive players. So if Tim Banks keeps his job, and tell me what you think after this, the mission on the offseason is rebuilding the defense. And I think they're off to a good start with what they did here on National Signing Day. Of the 19 defensive players or 18 defensive players, 10 were defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, 6 secondary players. What that immediately tells me is that there was a ton of concern with Tennessee's inability to slow down the run game, to get off the field on third downs. What that also tells me is they are not pleased with how much yardage they gave up through the air a season ago. Even specifically, New Mexico State, 313 yards or so. One more stat as I'm looking at my chicken scratch notes of all the players, which I don't even know if you can see that because it's so bright on the screen. But, Tennessee has those 3 5-stars. They have 11 4-stars, and they have 13 3-stars, and that was according to 24/7 Sports. And of the 11 4-star players, 7 of those 4-star athletes were on defense. But I want to touch on Zay Anderson. He's a 3-star corner that Tennessee signed. He committed over the summer, and it was essentially a no-doubter for Zay Anderson. He's from Greenville. That's the high school where Jacoby Gillespie, the current point guard for Tennessee, went as well. And, he grew up being a Tennessee fan, and he kind of was really candid with me when I went down there for 5-star preps, which if you're in East Tennessee and want to keep up with high school, I recommend subscribing to 5-star preps. He told me that it wasn't that this wasn't a dream, but it was such a far-fetched dream that he couldn't even dream it. It was such a lofty goal. It just felt so out of reach that it was just a layer beyond it just being an ambitious goal. And for him, now getting ready to early enroll, to suit up in the orange and white, it's a reflection of what Josh Heupel's mission was when he took over as head coach.
And I think that's important that you have those guys inside of your locker room because they feel it, they live it, 365 days out of the year.
And for Zay Anderson and Vol fans who don't quite know him much yet, I asked him, what's the one thing that you hope Vol fans will soon get to know about you when you suit up in the orange and white?
Just try my best, be a hard worker and just try to do my job.
Top notch. He's, like I said, he's a high character. Said a lot of times in the different things, when your hardest workers are your best players, you got a chance to be successful. You're not going to have to worry about him doing things he shouldn't be doing. He's a high character guy that's going to do everything he has to in the classroom, in the weight room, and then when he's with the football team. And he's going to make the University of Tennessee proud for giving him this opportunity.
He's only played corner the last couple of seasons. He spent a lot of time as a wide receiver for Greenville. But at the end of the day, whatever his role ends up becoming, he is one of those high character people that you absolutely want on your roster. Those types of players are your foundation. It's your rock, right? It keeps the team moving forward. It helps to reinvigorate the culture or to reinstill the culture. And that's exactly what Tennessee is finding out of Zay Anderson, a high character player.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy looking at it now, but back then it would be even more crazy looking at myself. So just grateful to be here.
So not only did Tennessee get Zay Anderson to build off of Josh Heupel's mission, Tennessee also signed 5 of Tennessee's top 7 prospects, including the #1 defensive player in Joel Wyatt. So huge momentum that Tennessee is gaining there. How about in the transfer portal? That is the true, real battlefield. That is where Tennessee needs to be incredibly aggressive. Again, if Tim Banks keeps his job, if the defensive staff keeps their jobs, and if they're not going to bring in extra personnel to help out to not ever see the floor ever again. So being aggressive in the portal is huge. That opens January 2nd through the 16th. It's a 15-day window. So Tennessee needs to get in there. They need to find fixes fast, because what I think will happen during that time and once the portal closes and you hopefully get the right fits, I think that's when the look in the mirror, the hard internal decisions will really come, especially if Tim Banks is on the hot seat. I also think it's a time to really look at the support staff, from the analysts to the assistants, the scout team. Everybody kind of needs to be reevaluated as they get ready for 26 if they want to regain ground in the SEC. And I'm wondering, would you keep Tim Banks if his numbers looked like they did on defense in 2022 and 2023? Or do you turn your attention to not just support staff, but other, key position coaches? Is it time for other coaches, you think, to kind of go on to other opportunities? In 2023, they were 41st in third down defense. They were really good in rush defense. They were 19th in the country. In 2022, they were 31st in third down defense, about 34% allowed. Pass defense, both in 23 and 22, not great, but in 22, they were 126th, almost 300 yards a game. And then 20th in rush defense, pretty much on par year to year, about 114, 115 yards per game year over year. 24, much better. And then 25, it was, I think, in the 200s, if I remember correctly. So the baseline question is, do you accept, functional success, or will you, while they develop, or are you just aiming for, I want to be elite, let's just find a new voice on defense? For me, just because it was that one bad season, I would say keep Tim Banks and maybe reevaluate the support staff. And if they don't get any big hits in the transfer portal, maybe it's a bigger question. But after one bad season, I don't know if I'm ready to say goodbye to Tim Banks. I don't know if that's a popular take or not, but I probably would just give it one more chance. Just see what happens after that. But there certainly needs to be a short leash when it comes to the Tennessee defense. But it's clear so far that they're focusing on depth, physicality, and trying to rebuild structurally. I think if they can see production like 22 and 23, I think that'll be what Tennessee's defense's room temperature kind of production is, and I think you can live on that. But what you can't live on is how the pass defense has been the last 3 or 4 seasons. That certainly has to be something that improves, and that goes to what we talked about on Wednesday. Later today, I'm in Nashville for the Illinois and Tennessee men's basketball matchup, Top 15 Showdown. Please make sure you subscribe, and when you do, turn on your notifications. There's a lot of great content out there, and hopefully I want you all to enjoy the content we're doing here at Full Disclosure. Best way to do that, turn the notifications on. I'll see you guys later tonight with a post-game recap with the Illini and the Volunteers. I'll talk to you then.